The amazing Tiya Scroggins. How are we?
We are wonderful.
We are wonderful. Welcome to Occupy Academy. Thank you so much for being with us.
I'm
I
so excited
appreciate
to be
you.
here.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
I am Tiya Scroggins. I go by Ty, the business queen. I am Miss Entrepreneur, a business guru, and I'm 20 years more in the game, helping business owners all around the country expand, do business, and learn the network.
I love that you mentioned that you do this around the country because this means you have to have like an extensive level of knowledge, not just for Louisiana-based businesses, but for everybody. Because, doing business in Louisiana is very different from doing business, say, in California or New York or Florida or Georgia. So
This is so true,
it,
extremely. Louisiana is different. We're just different. But yes, so I've been around the country doing the same type of work, and just being able to know the culture, the rules, the laws that vary from one state to the next state, and being able to still assist businesses doing those types of services and expansions. So yes.
yes. You mentioned business and networking, which is what we are going to dive into today. Why do you feel like networking became a really important topic to you? Like, why is that something you focus on?
Networking is very important to me, and I learned to focus on because when I started many, many years ago, when you first start out in business, you're seeking ways to, how should I start it? How should I expand? How do I get customers? How do I meet new people?
Mhm.
And at that particular time, I was living in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And I was fortunate enough over some time to be invited, or I heard about networking events, and I would get out and I would attend them. And I started learning and being able to see the difference after participating with some of the events. And I
Mhm.
learned some type of behavior where individuals will all be in the room. It could be 100, it can be 50, it could be
Yeah,
300 in the same room. And human nature says if you and I come in together, we tend to stay
stay
together.
together.
Or if we go into the room and the event is 2 hours in length, perhaps we might in 2 hours meet one person or meet two people instead of trying to
In
maximize
2 hours.
in 2 hours, maximize
Yeah.
who the absolute majority of the people that we can meet. Sometimes we sabotage that because of what is habit to us, and that is staying in our space.
Yeah.
And so, but I've also, by way of networking myself and teaching networking, have been able to gauge and come up with some of the absolute benefits is to maximize where you are, meet people
Hmm.
you don't know. So have a goal before you go, a great goal that only you and yourself come up with. Meaning, for example, if you go to any networking event and you say, hey, my goal is to meet three different people that I don't already know. And
Yeah.
so, and be able to have some accountability with yourself, or if you had an accountability partner to say, okay, I'm going to meet three and you're going to meet three, and we
Hmm.
all share notes or share information in the end. So I have been able to reap the benefits of networking, um, identifying individuals to network with, knowing the topic of discussion, establishing relationships, meaning talking about something that you're particularly interested in, if you're the person that I'm networking with, being able to follow up on that and being able to grow, and that morphs itself into contracts or relationships in the future. So I see the focus, it has become my focus because I see the benefit, the absolute benefit of networking and how your network impacts your net worth.
Yeah. I think that's something important too that you mentioned is that oftentimes we'll go into these spaces whether we come by ourselves or with someone, but we do tend to stay like in our little circle of comfort. right? We'll tend to kind of, we may speak to the person next to us if it's like a networking dinner or something like that. We may, engage in conversation, but not necessarily anything of any depth that adds benefit to, especially if it's like a business networking kind of thing. We're not really, I mean, we went to dinner basically, or we went and we just had brunch. Not
Yes.
really, not really with the goal, like you talked about, of developing relationships. It's me and the person I came with. We know each other, and we've been here for 2 hours, and the only people we know at the end is each other. That it really does. I would say it defeats the purpose,
Yeah, I will
honestly.
so as well.
Um, Unless maybe you're getting out, testing the waters, right? I could see if maybe it's your first time doing this, you don't really know what to expect. And I know it's something that you and I have talked about extensively is like the quality of networking events and how many times you go into these spaces and it's just the same people over and over and over and over. So there
Yes.
isn't necessarily anybody new to meet, but when it comes down to networking, do you find in your 20 plus years of experience with attending like really high quality, high impact
Mhm.
networking events with high profile people, do you find that women do it a little bit differently than men?
Yes.
Mm,
So, by nature, very good question. Men are by nature, and this is my opinion, men by nature are just more direct. So,
mm,
women are not as direct as men. They would have this similar behavior in is if I were interested in meeting you at a function, if I didn't know you and I was interested in meeting you, if there was someone perhaps that was in front of me, standing directly in front of me, men may sometimes jump ahead of me and go directly to me.
right. I've
It's
seen that.
as if they don't even see me there.
Yeah.
Women will wait. Oh, wait. Even if that means that person is standing in front of me takes all of your time and for 10 minutes is
Talking to
standing
somebody else.
talking to
Hmm.
so men generally are more assertive. Now there are
Hmm.
assertive women, but just by nature, one of the differences men are more direct, they're more assertive. They'll
Hmm.
walk up to you even if you're in the middle of conversation and say, "Excuse me,
Hmm.
may I give you my card or let me tell you about, my service or what I do," even while you're having a
Yeah.
conversation with someone. Um, Women are less likely than men to initiate conversations with people that they don't know.
Okay.
Um, so as a rule, I believe in networking. So if I'm assigned to a table of 8 people, I make it my business to know everybody that I'm officially dining with.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
um that is for me, and so
Hmm.
it becomes the one of the a great tool, and that is I'll tell you my name and where I'm from. I'm Tiye and I'm from Louisiana, and
Hmm.
people generally like duplicate what you do. But it becomes wonderful, wonderful networking, and they'll tell you what company they're with and what they do, and it can become the tables dialogue. Or I'll just walk up to people that I generally do not know. I'll walk up to people. If you were one of the panelists, the discussion person, and I hear you say some words that are interesting and it falls into the realm of services or products that I do. Now I'm very interested in meeting you. And I would absolutely recommend to anyone, I think you mentioned it earlier, that if you're attending an event and you've been going there for several times and same group of individuals, same
Yeah.
type of people. Well, in
Yeah.
the business realm, it's very important called ROI, return on your investment. At some point, after you've been 3, 4 times, whatever is the number for you, you're not getting anything out of it. You have the permission to stop. and seek elsewhere. So try a different set, try other avenues because you're not getting any return on your investment. If you are, in fact, getting return on your investment, and that is defined by you, that can be in actual contracts, that can be
Hmm.
actual relationship building, because the key to network is relationship building.
Yeah.
Relationship building means I met you today,
Hmm.
we exchange some words, we could exchange, contact information,
Contact. Hmm.
but relationship means I'm spending time with you in some form to get to know you better. When I get to know you better, that increases the probability that I want to do business with you.
Right. Right.
We'll do business with those that
They
they like.
know. Yeah.
And
That's good. That's really good. Do you recommend, because I think that's the toughest part though, the follow-up. We met at an event. I got your digital business card, you got mine. We know what we do. We maybe have complementing services for maybe the same audience, but then your number just sits in my phone
yes,
for months. I'm following you on social media,
yes.
but I don't ever actually reach out.
Okay.
Why is that hard for people? Why
Because
do you
they
think that's hard?
I think it's hard because you haven't made it a habit, in that everybody that you meet, and if you're a person that's doing it a lot of times, what that means, your numbers just increase and increase and increase and increase.
Hmm.
But in the business world, we call this business development, which means some people use online tools, CRM, client management system,
Yeah.
or we can still do it the old-fashioned way, which
Pen and
is
paper.
pen and paper, Excel spreadsheet. It works.
Yeah.
It works. And that literally means email, text, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever that person's comfortable with, and maybe not grade yourself on. Sometimes I can call it unrealistic. If I meet you today, send a text or email saying it was great meeting you today at the Occupy Conference 2025. You know, pleasure meeting you. By the way, this is my business. This is what I do. The question becomes, what will be your follow-up? So if you're doing that
Mhm.
in July, when and what when and what time will be your follow-up to send a second email, a
Mhm.
second text message. And it's okay if it's 3 months, if it's 6 months. The frequency is designed by you, but we're focusing in on the human factor. And the human factor is that we initiated some contact and you're maintaining it. You're
Initiate
maintaining,
and maintain. Initiate and
initiate and
maintain.
maintain. So your follow-up, we introduce each other. We met each other in July. In September, I send you a nice email
Mhm.
saying, happy, yeah, Halloween. Hope you're doing good.
Right.
All is well in Louisiana. I remember we spoke about there are some opportunities with Dale.
Hmm.
Here's my capability statement, consider us in the future. Do you have any time in the next couple of weeks to do a call so we can discuss matters? But you're continuing with the connection
Yeah. Yeah.
and not grading yourself hard on. There's no rule that says if you meet someone today, you have to send,
Have to reach out.
you have to reach
Yeah.
out in this period of time.
Yeah.
No, you're just extending and keeping and maintaining the connection, and consistently reminding them I have a wonderful business and this is what we do, and you've done research. That was one of the key points, is that whatever in the world of networking,
Hmm.
one of the greatest tasks that you can do is research prior to,
Before you go to the event.
before you go to the event. Know about the event, know who the speakers are. That helps you. and establishing connection. When I come up to you and I tell you, "Hi, Mister, I know you. Aren't you from? Didn't you used to live in
Hmm.
Georgia?"
Hmm.
That's human connection. that
Yeah.
that we connect in that way. So you do that for speakers, people that you meet. If I'm interested in doing business with a particular company, for example, if I'm interested in doing Delta Airlines, I will say to a decision maker or a person that is the representative, "Hey, I know about Delta Airlines. Remember, you started in Louisiana."
Yeah.
um, the connection. I know, tell people because they're impressed that you know about the target. You
Yeah.
have already done your research on the company that you're interested in doing business with. The goal in business is to improve upon something or to help you solve a challenge that you already have. So you're aiding in your research prior to saying, "Hey, Delta Airlines, I know you have an issue with staffing,"
Yeah.
as an example. We provide staffing solutions because what's different? Because we can staff within 24 hours
Within
from
24
all
hours. Hmm.
for all 50 everywhere you have a location, we can staff for that particular location 24 hours anywhere. That's the benefit. So your research will be able to, assist you in identifying what the challenges are, some areas that the of focus that organization has, and these are your talking points with the networking.
I love that. I really do. One of the things that I like to do also is find out what that person's preferred method of contact is. These days, people are busy. They're not taking phone calls like talking about it. So, hey, if you've given me your number, is this an office number? Is it a cell number? Can I text you? Do you prefer email? If so, be on the lookout for like I will actually tell people, hey, I'm gonna reach out to you if it's like a thing on a Saturday or something. I'll probably reach out to you by Wednesday of next week. What's the best way for us to get in touch with each other? Send me
Yeah.
an email and make sure, and I'll even ask, okay, do you have an assistant? Do you want me to copy your assistant in the email as well in the event that maybe something lands in your spam, or you're not able to get around to it. So I feel like that's another level of intentionality that you're adding to it. Don't and reciprocate that, right? So if you know you are one of those people who doesn't like getting random phone calls from numbers that you don't recognize, it's borderline disrespectful for you to just give somebody your number and then you don't answer the phone, especially if it's like, so like I know what we're talking about now is kind of like business to corporate, but like even just on a business to business level, if you're giving your number to the people that you're at the table having dinner with and then you never answer the phone,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you've got to reciprocate.
You do have to
You have to
reciprocate.
reciprocate. So give people your preferred method of contact. Um, if you don't want people texting you, don't give them your number. Tell them that email is the best way to contact you. And we can facilitate maybe an email conversation. If it's something local, we can then take it offline and maybe meet up for coffee or something like that. Like that's another really easy way to
It
do it.
is. It is.
That's
It
another really easy way to do it is, hey, what are y'all doing this week? Let's meet up for coffee. And then kind of go from there with, like you said, developing that relationship, maintaining it, keeping in touch with people, um, and not feeling like you're bothering folks. Because I would say most women that I talk to when it comes to networking, that's how they feel, right? So they'll go to events, especially these days. Like these days, everybody's event has a panel.
okay.
I feel like I'm all paneled out, but that's another topic for another day. But like I know you and I have talked about this before with events for other things that you and I have done, together for other organizations where there's maybe an event and they're bringing in funders.
Yes.
right? These days, access to capital is all the rage, right? It's become the thing that everybody is focused on. So you're bringing in banks, you're bringing in CDFIs, you're bringing in venture capitalists, and they're sitting there and they're telling you their contact information is literally on the screen, and you never have a conversation with them. You don't have a conversation with them in the room, and then you don't follow up and reach out to them later, and then you see them uh on podcast or in the news saying, yeah, we had such and such millions of dollars to give to small business owners,
Mhm.
but nobody applied.
Right. 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 Yeah.
I've had conversations with women who were like, yeah, I went to the event and so was there and this bank was there and they gave out information. And I was like, okay, so who'd you get to talk to?
Yes.
Well, I didn't really talk to anybody. I don't want to bother anybody.
Okay. Okay. Um, then the encouragement, bother people.
Bother the people.
Some people's whole job
It's to be bothered.
is to be bothered. That's their whole
The whole thing they
job.
do.
The definition of their job description is to be bothered.
9 to 5 for 6 figures. My
For
whole job
six,
description is to be bothered.
to be bothered. So by all means, bother them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. What are some things you do with regard to like research? How do you research the potential? Because you may not be able to like have access to the guest list, right? But what are some of the ways that we can maybe gauge and assess whether or not it's a space that we ought to want to show up in?
Google
Hmm.
space to see because whatever business that you're into, regardless if it's products or service, it's very important for you to know who buys your goods and service. So
Hmm.
your company should be able to say, oh, I sell purses
Hmm.
as an example. So who are the customers that will be purchasing purses? So I need you to say, okay, well, that's manufacturers, they're top retailers, second tier retailers that
Hmm.
that that sell them, companies that will buy them outside of the country, inside of the country. I need you to know who the end users are that will purchase your goods and service. So being able to research who they are, like
Yeah.
that's when I say Google, because if purses are an example, Google will assist us, or Bing would assist us with who are the end users who purchase them. And then we can go find out directly, go directly to the company's website and learn all there is we need to know, the leadership of the particular company, who buys what's the process, the length, do they have a supplier diversity division, a procurement office, who's in charge of the procurement office,
Hmm.
how do they go around the country and participate in conferences,
Hmm.
example, like what we do. Do they have an open door policy that like the federal government that says, oh, we have a whole division, so you can email them anytime. You can
Yeah.
fly to the Beltway and come and meet with them, open door policy.
Yeah.
So or you can catch them when they're going in the region and meet with them. That will become a produced document to find out specifically who's the contact person, identify that person, and then initiate a relationship.
I
Even if
like that. So this is networking. Like that's a major jewel that you just gave. This is networking outside of the scope of an event, not just limiting it to waiting until somebody hosts something and gets all these people together, but
yes,
actively, like being proactive
yeah,
in pursuing the
yeah,
individuals, because it really is like you said Google, and it's like Well, yeah. It really, for the most part, is public information that's readily available. Um, and like we said before, some people's entire job is to be that person that you contact for this information because the resources are there. But if we're not taking advantage of it over time, and we've seen this over 20 plus years, we have seen over time, if they're not using it, we'll try again. And eventually, we're just going to stop wasting financial resources, bringing people in to facilitate this particular program because no one's taking advantage of it.
Right.
And it's not that people aren't taking advantage of it. In many cases, it's just like, it really is. I don't know if I want to reach out because I don't want to bother people, or I don't know how they're going to, because that's another common thing. Well, I don't know how they're going to respond. And what if they say no? What if they say yes? What if they wildly say yes? Like, what if they say, yes, call me in the morning.
Yeah.
I've been needing you all
Yeah.
this time.
Yes. Yes.
We really we focus on what if it goes wrong? What if it goes unimaginably right?
And that's so possible. I mean,
It's so
we
possible. Like I know you have seen that happen before.
right now. I mean, right now. But yeah, I've seen it quite a few times. So what happens when they say yes? Your example, we need that right now. I mean,
Mhm.
like, hey, then it becomes, do you have your price sheet? Your agreement. When can you start? What's your onboarding process? How
Yeah,
fast? Because I we needed you yesterday.
yesterday.
So how fast can you move?
Yeah,
But let's be clear. Is it possible? Absolutely.
absolutely.
Does it happen? Absolutely.
Regularly. It
Regularly.
happens regularly.
Yes, let's encourage everybody to do that.
But this also speaks to showing up to a networking event ready.
Yes. Yes.
Um, the thing that I know is happening a lot now. Like we're not oblivious to what's happening in the world, what's happening in the United States, as at a federal level that's negatively impacting so many different people in so many different ways. And I think us having this conversation about building networks is really, really important at this part of, this stage of life in time on July 3rd, 2025. It's a very important conversation because you really don't know who may have whatever's next for you,
Yes.
right? And so if at a federal level a decision was made that your job isn't as important for us to keep paying for, so they shut the whole building down, you never know who may have what's next for you. And so you're going to these events. Like that's the thing is that I see women going to networking events on a regular basis. Like I'm going to this business building event, or I'm going to this access to capital event, or I'm going to this event that's going to teach the average business owner how to become a federal government contractor. But you get in the space and you stay in your little bubble the whole time. And you
Yes.
went to the event for the purpose of potentially changing your life through changing your business, but you kept your mouth shut and you didn't really engage with anyone. Have you in the scope of what you do and for how long you've been doing it, have you seen that being in one room took you from one level to a completely different level just through a conversation? I
Oh,
already know the answer, but they don't
yeah.
know the answer.
Yes,
There are so many
yes,
answers that she could give
ma'am.
to this, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. One or two. So I'll start with when I first started, I didn't know, like most business owners, I just know I had a skill, and a God-given skill. That's all I know, but I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily know the business aspect. And so early on, I started going, I started going to networking events, and I didn't know what I didn't know. So by chance or divine direction, I went up to someone and I said, this is me with my mind. I said, I need to know somebody. I said it to a lady. I said, I need to know somebody who in here got contracts, millions, is what I said to the lady.
Wow.
The lady said, because I didn't have any other reference. I don't know. And
Right.
I'm looking at hundreds of people and I don't know, and I'm young.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, who in here has $1 million contracts? The lady said to me, oh, what that man over there has a 3.2. I said, oh, really? Okay, great. Introduce me to him. She called him over, introduced me to him. And I learned so much of my business procurement from him on a grandiose scale. Change how, the trajectory for me
For you
maneuvering
maneuvering, right.
in those spaces. Help me with dynamics like, oh, I don't know anybody. Help me with, because I'm in an elevated a different level of networking with
Mm-hmm.
different kind of decision makers.
Yeah.
Um, as you said before, B2B, B2C,
Mm-hmm.
B2G, all of them. I'm in their spaces, and where I would have been very reluctant to go up to people I don't know. Now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you guys are talking about,
Yeah.
excuse me. Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself. I am such and such. This is what I do, and I've been able to get contracts out of it. So I've been able to get invited to a higher level of networking functions. Um,
Invited. So
and
this isn't like a public notice on eBay or a social media post.
no, no,
That's real different, Ty.
very different. Very, very different. So
Okay.
there are spaces that exist that invitation only. And it's an insurmountable amount of knowledge and decision makers in the room. And so yeah.
What do you do when you're there though? Like what, okay, so like we talked about the one end of the spectrum of you get in the room and then you don't talk at all,
Mhm.
right? Let's kind of then pivot to the opposite end of the spectrum where, oh, well, I was invited and you get into the room and you start talking too much.
Okay. So you
I
don't want
feel like I've seen that go really, really
I,
bad
I
for
have to
people.
I have I have to. Um so if you ever get invited to the room, the loudest person is it really comes across as insecurity. So the loud is not what you want. People don't hear loud, obnoxious, or almost arrogance, because I've seen it too. Last week,
Hmm.
the interpretation of the masses is not, oh, you're smart, you're wise, and you want somebody we want to do business with just because you're talking.
Yeah,
I say always be strategic. So if
that's
I'm
good.
asking questions on a strategic level.
Yes,
If it I want to build relationship with you.
yes.
Relationship with you is you feel like you know me and I feel like I know you, and we just
Hmm.
add this business on top of it. However, if we're in a public perspective, especially with an invite only. So invite only meaning you have a whole lot of decision making. I prefer, if I'm networking, the best mixture of a networking event for me is I want decision makers in the room. Decision makers are people that can execute a contract with me. if we can't do a contract together, then to me, that's socialization for me.
Right.
Interesting. I got my
We
social.
just got together and had dinner with a bunch of people we don't know,
We just got together and had dinner.
which speaks to the need to maybe do a little research before you commit to attending this event.
Yes, yes. The key is always how would this benefit you or me in attending? Because there needs to be some benefit. Otherwise, I
Right.
mean, you could be forever going to social events.
Right.
There should be, and it to me, it doesn't always have to be um financially. It doesn't always have to be a contract. Resources, connections, collaborations, partnerships,
Yeah.
mentors, somebody that can teach me about the business that I don't know. Even sometimes I empowerment or or leadership that can benefit me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, if you're not at my level, then you can't motivate me. So
She said it, not me. I've been saying that for years. I'm grateful to have somebody who echoes my sentiment. She said
mhm,
it, not me.
mhm, mhm.
It
Because
makes a big difference though,
it does.
right? It makes a big difference. Like we always talk about mutually beneficial
Mutually
relationships, reciprocal relationships, that even if I can't benefit you in the same way that you benefit me, even if I can't show up for you in the same way that you show up for me, there is something that I know. Like we have these AI conversations all the time. And I can go, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. I'm just going to stand next to it. Because I can go down the AI rabbit hole. And we've had conversations where she's like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing such and such. And I'm like, in my head, literally, I'm listening to what she's saying and taking notes at the same time. Let me email you some and I'll send her. I'll here's how you can do this faster. Here's a tool you can use that'll make it so even though I can't show up for her in the same way, like she knows government
Yeah.
contracting inside out, upside down. I don't. She's a lifeline to me in many ways, but I'm showing up for her at a high quality level, right? Just
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yeah.
So making connections with people, like she said, many of you need business mentors.
Yeah.
Many of you could benefit just from sitting and having a conversation at dinner with someone who knows somebody that you need to know at a
Yeah.
bank.
At a bank.
They golf with them every weekend. And
That
we
part.
talked about that, like how deals are made on the golf course. They
Yeah.
golf with this person every weekend. And if all you waiting on is a signature, that's all you need. I'll call him for you tomorrow. By Wednesday, reach out to them again. Sometimes it happens just that quickly because you're in a space with intentionality, right? You've done the research to find out who's going to be in the room, and you're committed to having a strategy when you go in, having an end goal when you go in. It makes a big difference though when you're going to high quality, high impact networking events where decision makers are in the room,
Yeah.
right? So even when it comes down to attending access to capital events, I've seen this before where the bank, the CDFI will send someone who's knowledgeable about a funding program, but they're not necessarily the person who actually sees. I've been to stuff where this person who's talking about this particular funding, maybe a loan or a small business grant, they don't even see the applications, right? Makes a big difference if you're at an event with someone who is actually responsible for processing information, who can
Yeah.
actually answer your questions. We, when I tell you Taye is so knowledgeable about so many things, I remember her mentioning something to me about a client that she was working with, and she suggested to them, ask them what they want to see on the application. Don't waste your time putting stuff on there that they're not even looking for, and then they still have to come back to you to ask them what they want on the application.
Yes.
And then you tailor the application to
Yes.
their specifications.
Yes.
But this is the kind of information that you get when you're networking with people, right? Like you're getting really inside information. You're getting a peek behind the curtain almost in many ways, especially if you're in a space where decision makers are.
Decision makers is the key. If you get to choose, you want the decision makers. They make the decision. You're sitting and having dinner with the person that makes the decision about
Yes,
the contract
yes,
on the review committee for the contract. Having a discussion about you, I'm sorry, with you regarding some futuristic, oh yeah, 6 months, we're gonna need to hire a consulting firm to do A, B, or C. You're hearing about it 6 months prior to.
prior. Yeah, you've got time now. You've got time now to start putting things together.
The public is gonna hear about it a month before it's due. You're hearing about it now. That's what relationships
That's so good.
working does for you.
That is so good.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Uh, and knowledge ahead of time.
Yeah.
Benefit.
Yeah, because that I think that's something too that we need to understand as business owners is they're not making snap decisions, right? This isn't something that somebody woke up one day and said, let's just push this out tomorrow. They've been talking about this for a while. By the time you find out about it, like she said, especially with funding opportunities and like contracting and stuff, by the time you find out about it, it's been in the works for them probably a year and a half.
Yes.
And they probably hosted an event for the public, this is what we're planning, this is what we want to do, we'd like to have some public input,
Mhm.
but you
Yes.
didn't go. And so by the time you find out about it, and I've even seen where a funding notice will get published and then it's gone in like 2 weeks. Like you literally have 2 weeks to get your stuff together
Mhm.
and get it together, submit it, all the things, So it definitely makes a difference what spaces you decide to network in. It
Yeah.
makes a difference. And then, so like go in with a goal,
Going with the
do the research before you go.
yes.
Try your best to be in spaces where decision makers are. And don't be afraid to speak up.
Do not be afraid to speak up. Meet people that you don't know. Walk up to them and tell them your name, your business name, and what you do.
What you do.
And ask them or inquire about who they are and what they do and allow them to talk.
Okay, see that not just asking because let me be polite and get this part over so I can finish telling you about me.
Mhm. I'm connecting with you. So I'm going to ask you, or I'm going to wait for you to tell me you're Cheryl. This is your company. This is what you do. I want you to talk because you're going to tell me, oh, I like gardening. I have
Yeah.
children. And when I follow up with you or the next time I communicate with you, I'm going to remember, sure, how's your gardening doing?
Right, right. How's Braxton doing? Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
That's human nature.
yeah,
Now we have connection.
yeah.
She's like my friend. I know her. So, oh, by the way, did I tell you we have this contract that's coming up? Well, it's not coming up until November, but I want to tell you about it now so you can be considering it. Or I think this would be great for you.
hmm
Just,
And
just
here's the thing that I want everybody to understand. This is literally how these conversations go.
yes.
This is not like it's not hyperbole. It's not like really, really far-fetched. We have seen and known people. She is one of the people that I know who has actively engaged in conversations just like that
Mhm.
with people that she attended networking events with, and they'll send an email. Like I know somebody else who just got a similar phone call after having been you were there. He was at DC
Okay.
Mardi Gras in DC.
Yes.
Had a conversation with somebody, emailing back and forth. Hey, I thought about you. And the person sent him the specifics on contracts that are in the works, things
Wow.
that are in the works.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then gave him a list of specifications of different things that he would need to start having the conversations. And this is the point person. I'm not the decision maker for it, but here's the name of the decision maker.
Yes.
When you get time, I want to make an introduction.
That's
So
beautiful.
this is decision maker plus, right? Like when you get time, let me know your availability and I want to facilitate a Zoom call between you and this individual. Because like you said, because we needed this yesterday.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. I did the same thing. DC Mardi Gras.
Hmm.
Met someone, having a conversation there. And I was like, oh yeah, I do this. Followed up 3 separate calls,
Hmm.
2 emails. And they're like, oh, okay. It morphs itself into a contract.
Wow.
But it was DC Mardi Gras.
Which just passed, to be clear. Like if you're not familiar with DC Mardi Gras, it's just the middle of the year.
Yeah.
It just passed.
Yeah.
So this isn't like she's not telling you things that are hypothetical. These are like real life examples of
Correct.
real life examples of things that can be possible for you as a business owner. And here's the thing too that was important for me that I learned from her. This isn't just for service-based businesses.
No, no, it is not.
This works across the board. Services, products, hybrid, where maybe you do a little bit of both. You know, you have a service that converts to a product or whatever the case may be. It works across the board, whether it's business to business, business to consumer. Um, and then too, like I like seeing events where consumers are invited to networking events also. Like you see that a lot with tech companies will do that. You're seeing a lot of fashion brands do that also, where they're inviting like influencers to networking events where they're meeting with the heads of the different fashion brands and stuff like that. Hey, what do you think about that? Here's the thing that does is it adds another level of insight for the influencer, right? Who is, if you're serious about it as a content creator, as an influencer, it's a business. And so you're getting an inside look into what's coming down the pipeline for fall, for spring of next year. This is you giving your viewers an inside look at information they would not have otherwise had, which adds to your credence as an influencer, right? So that's becoming another thing where they're starting to invite customers, consumers into some of these networking spaces where it's not just business owners. Then to like she's talking about business to government, right? That is a and there are so many nuances there, of course, with business to government, but considering the possibilities, right? I remember meeting someone who told me that she found out that the federal government, so she makes bath products, and she found out that not federal, Louisiana state government
Okay.
um, buys soap from small business owners for the prisons.
Mhm.
Had no idea that was a thing. She's like, I'm about to start learning how to make soap.
Federal
So I
government.
can get on there. Like she attended an event and found out about it. Did like they provided her with all these resources and everything. She talked to a couple of people who are decision makers, and they're like, take a look at this website. Like there's a whole list of procurement items
Mhm.
that she would never have considered inside of her business had she not seen. And it's not taken her way outside of the scope of what she does, right? This is still in the lines of bath products, beauty products, that whole thing. But now having that desire, if she never would have considered, I could actually have the state of Louisiana as one of my largest customer bases.
Mhm. Then she can leave there and go to the Fed and do the same thing.
See,
It's a bigger check.
see, and still sell her products to her on her website to regular people and still keep her social media, and do it that way. And like you said, it's just a bigger check, but you don't know if you're not actively engaging, being intentional about making those connections, right? It's 2025 and we have to really move beyond some of the excuses that we keep making for why our businesses are not growing.
Right.
If it's as simple as open your mouth and have a conversation with someone.
Please open your mouth and have a
And I say that as an introverted person who, I'm not shy, so I know the difference between introversion, extroversion, and shyness. Um, but I know also how to get into spaces and make myself feel comfortable in the space, right? Even if that goal is have short conversations with two or three people,
Yes. Yes.
find out who they know in the room. Hey, can you make an introduction?
Yes.
If that's
Yes.
my entire goal, because after that, that's a lot of peopling. I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna get under the bed.
Social media, just wait.
I'm gonna cover my head. I don't want to talk. Yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody for another couple of days, but it's completely possible, but you've got to start, right?
Yes.
She's not saying go into a room and find 20 people you don't
No.
know and tell them that's a
No.
bit much for most of us.
Right. It is.
And most events aren't even that long for you to really meet that many people anyway.
Right.
Unless it's like considering DC Mardi Gras over the course of several days, but on average, 2.5 hours,
Yes. Yes.
find three people you don't know.
Three people you don't know already.
Find three people you don't know already and get outside of your current circle. I love that. How do you facilitate that though? Like when you go into a place, how do you, because I know you go to places and then you bring other people with you. Like you have people that you mentor. How do you help them get comfortable in that? I know you
So,
don't just push them into the deep end of the pool. Like how do you actually show them what to do and how to do it?
so, um, the example would be if they're with me, they're coming with
Hmm.
me. We're sitting at the same table, but I establish rules, and the rules are I'm going to introduce you to some people. Um,
Hmm.
goal is definitely you have to meet some people that you don't know. So we come up with a number that they're comfortable with. They could be one,
Hmm.
they could be two. So if they're coming with me, I'm going to introduce them to an individual, preferably a decision maker. And so it's just simple, like, hey, Mr. Mike, this is Tiffany. Tiffany, this is Mr. Mike. He is the director of um, you know, public health, and Mr. Mike, Tiffany does this services, and then if I know something about them, I'll throw that in because that adds an extra level. I was like, oh, she loves horses just like you do.
Okay. Okay.
And that becomes the conversation if
Yeah.
I'm in the midst. It just
Yeah.
helps with the conversation. And so I'll tell the other that doesn't know something about them. And that adds just a bridge. And then I need to step back.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. Give
and
them the
allow
space.
them, give them the
Okay.
space to talk. Um, or if I'm already talking about a project, or a subject matter, I bring them into the fold. So if they're standing, next to me and we're talking about a project or potential project, I'll turn and say, "Oh, Mr. Mike, let me introduce you to Tiffany. She does, you know, she drives cars, she transports cars, but she
Hmm.
also horses like like you do. Y'all still have y'all farm in Coshada,
Love that.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that they'll connect that way. Um, I also assigned the individual, I said, you have to meet someone that you don't know so we can deal with the anxiety for that. I said, and we'll do it together.
Together. Hmm.
So I can pick up some points. I said, okay, do you see the lady sitting over at the corner? Um, she is the director, the executive director for the state for this. Sometimes I'm very direct. I'm like, she got money. So I need you to go and meet her. And I said, because sometimes the key, sure, no, not the key. Sometimes the issue is individuals can't see or
Hmm.
understand and place themselves into the puzzle, which means
Okay.
you have a good or service, but you don't know how your good or service fits into
Fits. Okay.
the rural development. You can't
Hmm.
see it or you don't know it. That's why I
Hmm.
would say the research. If I'm there only because of what I do professionally, but if
Hmm.
I'm there, I can say, you want a health unit, rural development got money
To
for you to
build
help
a health.
build,
Wow.
to make the connection because you may not know that. And so I'm
Yeah.
gonna help and say, that's the person that can make a decision. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, oh, okay,
Yeah.
person you need to do, you want to do the health unit. They have money, but you also have to have input from this organization.
Hmm.
That's who's over that, or that who serves on this committee or this board. They're part of the selection. So meet them, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so it makes it a
Yeah.
little easier. If I'm there, I can identify and say, meet them, and I can, like whisper it. They do this or they do that. That's why it would be beneficial. And the response, like, oh, okay, okay. So now, introduce yourself, tell about yourself, but give them an opportunity to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the human factor. If the opportunity presents itself, as you said, Cheryl, do you have any availability? Ask them if they have any availability next week, next Tuesday after 2 o'clock p.m., next
Hmm.
Thursday, to get on their schedule so you can present that to them.
Hmm.
Um, if it doesn't present itself, it's okay. Share information and then please try to master your follow-up and understand that this is what I know. So I like to share this. Um, I do contracts for a living.
Hmm.
So, but I network for a living. And um, networking takes a longer time, but the it has a greater amount of return on investment. My numbers are sky high as opposed to getting a contract now.
Hmm.
I'll just use it as an example. I can get a
Hmm.
$10,000 contract here, but the contract that I can get later because I'm developing relationships,
Relationships.
100,000.
Yeah.
It's going to take longer time.
Yeah.
It's the relationship building.
Networking then is really a part of your business strategy.
Mhm. Definitively.
That's interesting. Not just an activity to do because you have time,
Not just an
which
activity.
shifts the way that we see the importance of it, right? Like if you consider networking as an important part of your business strategy,
Mhm.
not just socializing,
Right, right.
not just showing up for information, not just getting somebody's business card or they're handing out pamphlets and all the things. If you actively see this as a part of a way to grow and scale your business, it makes networking necessary.
It
It's
is.
as necessary as banking,
It
right? Like it's
Yeah,
as necessary as a business plan.
it is. It is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just is.
It's not an optional thing.
It's not an optional thing. I even do business where people, what do we, I'm trying to think of the word. Um, so people will validate
Hmm.
what your past performance, who you are, and you're networking with people who will be the validators.
Yeah.
Oh, you know her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. As opposed to if you don't network, so people don't know who you are. So
Hmm.
people are literally, it amounts to someone taking a risk or giving an opportunity to you as a person that they don't know.
Don't know. That's
Yeah.
an important factor. That's an important factor, especially when you're in those invited spaces, right? Or if you're somebody's plus one, like many of your mentees end up being, if you're somebody's plus one, and this goes back to what we were talking about before of like, don't just come in the room and be silent, but also don't come in and over talk. Like
Yes.
you've got to recognize that you're the little fish in the big pond,
Correct. Correct. Correct.
right?
And it just makes sense if you don't know even 10% of what the big fish are talking about, then please, please, by all means, don't come in like you know
Know everything. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Because they're not impressed. Let's start there.
Yes,
They're not impressed. Um, and you're probably exposing more weaknesses
you are.
than you want to up front, right? All of us have them,
All of us.
but in that situation, you could be quiet and cover them a little bit. So
Yes, ma'am.
so you don't get eaten by the sharks.
Right.
And in those instances, like I've seen where you walk in like you're the most necessary thing since air, and people are really unimpressed by you, and you don't get a return phone call. They're not replying to your emails or anything like that. Or they're replying saying, since we met, the opportunities are being shifted. We'll
Yes.
keep you in consideration for future opportunities, but they don't.
Right.
They
Right.
don't. So really finding that balance between doing way too much versus not doing enough, and making sure that we have a good, clear understanding that networking is a necessary thing. Like I love the way that you worded the human factor of networking. That's really what you've given us. It's not just make sure you show up at events and make sure you bring your business cards and make sure you're able to talk about yourself. You've put it in a context that really does humanize it, right? Like these are people. They may be overseeing multi-million, multi-billion dollar budgets, but they're people.
Yes. Yes. They are
They're
people.
people. And you've got to connect with them like they're people.
Yes. Beautiful.
I'm
You,
excited. I'm so excited about like just what's next in the world of networking, because I'm starting to see some different things kind of coming up and different information that's being released through the context of or through the vehicle of networking, where more information, more high quality information is being shared in many of these spaces, because people really are tired of just wasting their time
yes.
showing up to an event, even if it's free,
Yeah.
even if you're, serving champagne and canapes and you don't have to pay a fee to get in, but I can't get this time back
You
because
can you cannot. Oh my gosh.
because these are the same 50 people that were here the last three times you did this. It
Yes.
does make a big difference. And if you show up at an event where it's the same 50 people, but you didn't even meet one. So let's put it in context. Let's be clear. They may be the same 50 people, but if you haven't talked to one of them, you need to keep showing up until you build up the courage to actually have a conversation with somebody.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
want to add that caveat. Don't think that we're saying if you keep showing up in spaces and it's the same people over and over. Not if you haven't actually done your part
Yeah.
first.
Please do your part.
Do your part first to vet the space, to vet the people that are in the room. And then once you've done that, and you're seeing this isn't, I'm not getting a positive return on my investment of time coming here, then start doing the research, looking for higher quality, higher impact. And high impact is relative, it's dependent on what your business actually needs
Yes.
and even your tolerance for a crowd, right? So if it's a quote unquote networking event, like some of these events get really, really big.
They do.
If
Yeah.
you can't handle that, do a small one that's local to you with maybe 50 people.
Right. Right.
Something you can handle until you're able, but make sure you're, like she said, in spaces where decision makers are. You may not be able to be in a room with decision makers all the time,
Right.
but I guarantee you somebody knows a decision maker that's in some of the spaces that you're showing up in.
That's correct.
Even asking that question, what's next on the table for you guys? Like, where are you guys gonna be next? What's the next event that's coming up? What's
Yeah.
on your schedule? What's on your calendar?
What new projects are
What
coming
new
up?
projects are you working on? And then showing up in those spaces or
Yeah.
developing relationship to the point that you get invited into those spaces. It makes a big, big difference. And just making sure that networking is a part of your actual business strategy, that
Mhm.
you see it as necessary as putting money in the bank. You see it as necessary as acquiring new customers. You see it as necessary as having a marketing plan or having a business plan, making sure that you are actively making connections with people. Taye, thank you so much. This was such a great conversation. Like, I know we could talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. I love having conversations with you. You are so great. Thank you so much for being with us. So, as a business consultant, how can people get in touch with you, take advantage of your services, and learn more about what you do?
Wonderful. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can reach me at phone number area code 318-900-0390. Our
A phone
website,
number, y'all. You know,
phone
people
number.
not giving
Phone
out phone numbers in 2025.
And then you can check us out on the website at businessqueen.net, www.businessqueen.net.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us. Listen, if you have not gotten your Occupy 2025 registration in, we are at, I think, 8 seats at this point, which we're really excited to meet you, to greet you, to serve you, to pour into you, to give you a hug when I see you, all the things. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.